Welcome to the final week of Art and Objects November sales. It's been a busy November, and this week, starting tomorrow, Tuesday, we have the Asian art catalogue, and then the following day, on the Wednesday, of course, we have the Decorative Arts, which features the David Cooke collection. Now, James and I are going to take you through in just a minute some of the more interesting pieces in this really quite incredible array of material that we have in the gallery at the moment. But just on a point of housekeeping, one thing I would like to note is that the Asian art auction starts at 6 o'clock on the Tuesday. Please be here early, and please note there will be very limited viewing. We're going to be very busy preparing for the auction on the Tuesday night, so viewing will conclude at 1 o'clock on the Tuesday.
So we've had such an overwhelming response to our Asian sale. We are having an uncatalogued section this time, which begins at 6 o'clock, and then following that at 6:30, the main sale kicks off with the continuation of the Tattersfield collection. We offered the first part of the collection in February and had an overwhelming response. In fact, we had bids from all over the world. The sale was streamed live, and bids across the world, as far away as Hong Kong, Canada and Melbourne. So this time we're offering the second selection of jade from the Tattersfield collection, some 60 to 70 pieces in the sale, and then the sale moves on from there. So in this sale there are a number of feature lots, but one of my favourite pieces and one of the key lots I think in the sale is this beautiful carved ivory figure of Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is the Chinese female Buddha of compassion, and the thing about this piece, it is so beautifully carved. And if you look here, you can see just the beautiful rendering of the facial features on the ivory. It is an absolutely superb condition, dating from the mid-19th century, a very good piece of ivory. This is one of a number of pieces of ivory in the sale, and indeed one of a number of Buddhas in the sale. We have a lovely collection of bronze of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas also being offered. This would have to be, I think, probably the most magnificent piece in the sale. Certainly one of those pieces you can't miss. It is a Han Dynasty model of a horse. So from the Han Dynasty, that makes this piece about 2,000 years old. I certainly have not seen a Han Dynasty horse of this size in New Zealand. It has been held in a private collection for the last 20 years. It does also come with a thermoluminescence report, which is consistent with that dating. I think one of the few opportunities you'll have to buy one of these pieces in New Zealand. Then on Wednesday night we move to the decorative art sale, the antique sale, and in that sale we have the David Cooke collection. The David Cooke collection comprises the stock and trade of David Cooke antiques, a very good collection of period furniture, ranging from the Queen Anne period all the way through to the 19th century. One of the key features in this sale is this beautiful chinoiserie cabinet behind me, this Japanese chinoiserie cabinet on a later English stand. The cabinet would have been made in the 18th century. That was a period when Japan was actually in seclusion, so Japan was in seclusion from 1653 to 1853, so not many of these pieces made their way out. Once Japan opened up to the west, some of these pieces made their way out to America and to England and to Europe, and that's why you often see these pieces with these later associated very English or European stands. A very good piece, beautifully appointed to the interior, and the lacquer is in very nice condition. So another key piece in the David Cooke collection is this Queen Anne period walnut chest on stand. What I like about this, and it's true of so many pieces in the David Cooke collection, is that it is original. There has been one small bund foot replaced on the back of this piece, but apart from that it is absolutely original and nice condition. You often see these with associated stands, with replaced legs. This is absolutely in an almost perfect period condition. Again, it's not the sort of furniture that is offered on the market here very often.
John Kinder is one of New Zealand's most important artists from the 19th century, and it could be argued that he is the artist in many ways of the urban experience of early New Zealand, particularly Auckland from the 1850s, 60s and 70s. In this catalogue we have an important selection of 15 works which span the period from the early 1840s, European scenes. Of course, John Kinder arrived in Auckland in 1855, through to the early 1870s. Kinder's quite a fascinating figure because he didn't train as an artist, he trained as a mathematician. he ultimately became a churchman, a high churchman, and it's in that capacity that he travelled to New Zealand in 1855 to take up the position at Auckland Grammar School. The influence of Kinder as an educationalist, a churchman, was profound in those times. But today, we recognise Kinder as both an artist and a very early photographer. In this collection here, we have two distinct bodies of work. We have the European scenes, particularly alpine scenes, beautifully rendered scenes in Switzerland of alpine passes. And then we have another body of work which are almost fantasy pieces, and I've never seen works like this from Kinder. There's two absolutely exquisite drawings of shepherd boys in alpine settings that have very much a more fantastical, mystical, almost fairy tale feeling to them. Probably the most spectacular of the European tour images is this work dated from October the 9th, 1842, which depicts Mont Saint-Michel in Normandy, the island's citadel, a great centre of religious significance. This great structure at Mont Saint-Michel in Normandy must have greatly attracted and interested Kinder at that time. And you can see the distinctive use of pencil, wash, and just the judicious use of china white to highlight some of the key structures. Absolutely exquisite drawing from 1842. That's only 2 years after the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi and 13 years before Kinder actually arrived in New Zealand. Here we are 32 years after the image of Mont Saint-Michel in Nelson in New Zealand. January the 12th, 1874, Kinder has produced this really quite important topographical view of the foreshore of Nelson. And this is where we see, if you like, Kinder's lovely, soft, late New Zealand style, I think we can call, the softer light, the modulated tones, quite a romantic view of the new colony literally growing in front of our eyes.
And this is something that you won't find in your catalogue, but you will find if you come along to the viewing. This is a late entry that came in fact, a couple of days before we finished the setup of the sale. It is a 19th century cast iron garden seat, bench seat, along with a matching table. And if you look at the detail here, this is actually a superb piece of cast iron furniture. We have these dog terminals to the end of the arm here, but even nicer, we actually have, if you look here, we have a serpent wrapping its way around, or the stretcher part of the base. The serpent then carries on and continues into the table. You often see garden seats. You rarely, if ever, see on the markets nowadays matching garden seats and table. And I think one of the most interesting lots in this sale is this four-poster bed, which dates from the 19th century, which was held by the East India Company, has the East India Company crest on here. It was a bed that was made in England for the officers of the East India Company. In India, believe it or not, this huge four-poster bed was actually made to pack down after a period of time at a location, and then it would be carried and then reset up on another night. So quite an interesting piece and quite an interesting history. It is made from the finest of rosewood. The current owners, though, have converted it as well. So it has been converted so that it now will accommodate a double queen size mattress. So it is pretty much ready to go. So following on from our very successful sale of New Zealand pottery and applied arts last week, we have a few pieces of pottery, New Zealand pottery in the sale as well. And probably one of the key pieces, not really a New Zealand piece, but fired in New Zealand, is this Michael Cardew stool. It was made by Michael Cardew when he was in New Zealand in 1968, working in collaboration with some New Zealand potters, in particular with Peter Stitchbury, and this was fired at Peter Stitchbury's kiln. So a very, very important historical piece. The Decorative Arts Sale also features about 20 lots of mid-century modern design. And one of the pieces in that section of the sale that has created a huge amount of interest, I must say, is this vintage Le Corbusier table and chair setting in its, as you can see, pretty much original condition. It was bought by the current owner from a German immigrant who came out here, who brought it with him, and it is really an interesting piece with the 4 chairs. 2 of them are armchairs, the 2 side chairs, the matching table, and as I say, in its original condition.